Is being fat a choice? Believe it or not, that's an actual question that is being asked by a wide, strange choice of words, a wide variety of different people. And the YouTube channel Jubilee actually sat down a whole group of both skinny and obese people and asked them that very question. Now, I know you may think that this is ridiculous. Why are we even talking about this? Of course it's a choice. Well, if you look at the mainstream media, they're really pushing the idea that people have no control of how large they get. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's not muck around. Let's jump straight into the video that I'm recording from some random Airbnb because I'm on the road doing shows. Come and see me live. Let's have a look at question number 1.
Being fat or skinny is a choice.
Of course, not every factor is purely choice. I don't think that every factor is, but I do think a majority of it is. And in most cases, for most people, being skinny or being fat is about willpower.
Okay, there you go. You don't need another 30 minutes of this debate. You certainly don't. That is the answer to this question. Plain and simple, right there. This dude knows what he's talking about. If you have the power to eat well, to control your portions, and then exercise on top of all of that, you won't be obese. Pretty fucking simple, if you ask me, ladies and gents. And conversely, of course, if you choose to eat whatever you bloody want, you will grow bigger and bigger and bigger. That is the facts of the situation, and I know this personally. If I blow out for a while, I get bigger, and if I eat well, I get smaller. Pretty fucking simple.
For me, it's calories in, calories out. Go to the gym, you'll get buff. Don't go to the gym, you won't get buff. I understand that there's genetics that could cause you to want to eat more, but even with the genetics that cause you to want to eat more, the same solution is calories in, calories out.
It surprises me to no end how many people are oblivious to the idea of the first law of thermodynamics. When you eat it, when you consume that energy, it has to go somewhere. Either you burn it or you store it. They are the only options. And the crazy thing about those two options is it's entirely your choice as to what happens. Now, I'm thoroughly looking forward to seeing what happens where the people who disagree that it's not a choice, that they have no control, when they come over. Okay, I'm sorry, I added that sound effect. I'm a piece of shit. I'm very, very aware of it. Let's be a little bit respectful here. Here are the people who don't believe that weight gain is a choice at all.
I always viewed myself as big. I grew up in a very poor home, so where my mom couldn't provide the meals that she could healthily. So when we would get free meals, even then, it would be canned food, and it would be very much food that's not as edible. It was food for us.
Okay, obviously that's horrible. Grows up poor, is very, very big as a child, remains very, very big. But why? Why is it that food, that shit food, had that result? Is it because it was just poor quality and it wasn't very satiating? Wasn't making her very full as a child, so she ate more and more and more? Was it the sugar content? Was it the refined carbohydrate content? These are the questions we need answering, but regardless of all of that, unfortunately, it still comes down to the pure facts that it is a choice. And maybe as a kid, it's not a choice of hers, but her parents. She ate too much and continues to eat too much, and they are all personal choices. We have personal choices in everything we do every single day. Whether we take drugs, whether we drink too much, whether we train, whether we eat well, whatever, whether we sleep all day. These are personal choices, and they dictate who you become as a person. You need to take ownership of them.
Once it reached a point where I was old enough to try to make my own choices, I made all of the wrong choices. I wasn't eating, and I was only eating grapes and lettuce, and that was mainly because I was in a sport, and that sport just worked me out so hard.
She goes on to say, and I won't bore you with it, that she was only eating grapes and eating lettuce at this point, and drinking some water. And she was afraid to eat. Okay, that's horrible that she was afraid to eat. But if you're only eating grapes and eating lettuce, and yet you still put weight on, or at least you don't lose weight, if you want to just maintain the weight, that's 500 grapes a day. That's a fuck ton of grapes, lady, you crazy bitch.
As a disabled woman, I can't do a lot of the things that people say calories in, calories out, oh, you gotta go work out and exert it. A lot of the things that are typical, oh, this is how you lose weight, put me in the hospital.
As a balding man, I need to start introducing myself as that. Can I just say, it sucks that you have a disability. That's awful. Personally, I sort of have a slight, it's not a disability, but it's annoying, it's a condition. I have a form of epilepsy, and it stops me from doing certain things, but I get around it. I make choices in my life to navigate this problem. Now, obviously, not all disabilities and conditions and people are equal, but surely you can still get around these problems. There are plenty of very disabled people, legs off, arms off, fucking heads off, that are still able to maintain a physique, look good, look healthy, and not to mention, you don't even need to train to lose weight. You just need to eat in a caloric deficit. That's it. If you are eating below your total daily energy expenditure, you will lose body fat. That's what a caloric deficit is. All right? We listening? Is it harder for her because she's disabled? No doubt. But it's still achievable. In our society, we reward people with excuses, and that's fucking shit, and we should never do that. Nobody wants pity. And for those people who do want pity, trust me, you don't, all right? You're just a little bit lost. Pity is horrible, it's horrendous, and you never want that. If you have things that are wrong with you, find a way around it.
We're keeping myself from eating things that I should be able to eat. You should be able to have a balance. You should be able to go into the junk food aisle like other skinny people do and still not have to worry about gaining 20 pounds.
A balance? Yeah, sure. But a balance is only having shit food some of the time. And for the vast majority of the time, you should be eating quality food that keeps you full. Particularly when you're in her situation where you are overweight and you do have a medical condition, then I would dare say losing weight would probably help with. And you definitely don't need to be going to these massive gym nights, okay? 45 minutes, 3 days a week, pretty much all you need. Throw in some walking as well, you've got it made. As for medications, some drugs will stimulate your appetite, no doubt. Other drugs will actually make you feel better, like SSRIs and antidepressants. They'll make you feel better and you might actually feel like eating. So yeah, you might start to eat more, but these are all choices. Some may slow down your metabolism. But let's work it out. Let's find a way around it. Some are actually thought to interrupt the messaging between the gut and the brain. But let's work it out. Don't just give up. Many medications can affect weight gain. But in all the studies that they've done on the weight gain caused by these medications, what is not controlled in those studies is the diet and the choices made by the person.
There's a thing called set points. There's a ton of research on it. That your body likes to be at specific weights. It likes to be in a specific way.
Okay, your body, let me get this spot on. Let me get this right. Your body prefers the state of illness. It prefers to be in a state of inflammation, in a state of pain, in a state of disease. Okay. Now there has, and I will be honest here, there has been some studies that have looked into your body wanting to do this, wanting to keep a certain size or a certain weight. But once again, it doesn't account for diet. And perhaps it has to do with your childhood and your earlier years, and when you've decided to go on a diet and actually lose the weight, you still have all these little fat cells in your body that are just like, hey, please fill me back up. I'm ready to expand again. They don't disappear, they just get a little bit smaller. Perhaps they have been taught over the years that they need to store all this weight, but that doesn't mean that that's your body's healthy size. It means that's how you've conditioned your body to be sick. And how have you conditioned it to be sick? Through your choices.
So if you are fighting yourself to lose weight by not eating, over exercising, and you are damn near killing yourself to be at a specific weight, your body's unhappy.
Disagree. You definitely do not need to damn near kill yourself at the gym. At all. No. If you just eat what you actually require, maybe just a little bit less, you'll lose weight. You don't even need to go to the gym. But going to the gym's great. It'll help you live longer. Now, the next question that was asked was, would I rather be skinny than fat? And this was one of the responses.
The immediate tie between skinniness and health, like you emphasized, there is such a gap between, one, the research, because the research has a huge fatphobic bias in it.
Okay, that is a fantastic way to ignore research, to just say that it doesn't like you. Please, do go on.
There has been research that shows that they aren't, even especially during, let's say, COVID and the correlation between obesity. They rushed through those studies.
Hang on, do you mean the correlation that suggested that you may triple your risk of hospitalisation? There were plenty of studies done around this time that apparently didn't like you or had a bias against you. Others found that it increased the risk of severe disease. Others found that the risk of death increased by almost 50% by choices made by you. Follow the science. But yeah, I'm sure these studies were wrong because they don't like you because you're fat. That sounds completely logical.
Rushed through those studies so fast because in society's mind, oh, of course a fat person is going to equal someone who's going to get sick faster, is going to get sick easier. It was an easy jump. So they didn't do all of the testing that they were supposed to do.
Hey. Nothing was rushed during that time. Nothing. And I will not go into what I'm talking about because that's not allowed on YouTube. No way. Anyway, if you ignore all that research and you don't think it's dangerous to be that size and you think it's fat phobic and yada, 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 then that's on you. That's also a personal choice and it's going to come back to bite you in your big fat fucking ass. It's funny though, during the pandemic, we barely heard about these problems. We barely heard that being obese was a bigger issue for people with that particular illness. It's funny how you don't hear those things because they just offended people. That's how delicate our sensibilities is. When you have real health advice, you ignore it because it might upset some people. Yeah, that sounds fucking appropriate. Personally, I found being locked in my house by the government a little bit offensive, but anyway, who cares?
America has an obesity problem.
Okay, surely everyone agrees here. All right, most of them agree, but not all. How? 70 million adults in America are obese, and 16% of the kids. Not overweight, not big, obese. So yeah, I'd like to say there's a little bit of a problem. Now, the group here, they argue back and forth that it's Big Pharma that's the problem, or Big Food, or Big Lizzo, perhaps. They didn't actually say that. That's my opinion. I think it's probably Lizzo's fault. But sure, whatever. Whoever you want to blame, doesn't matter. It all comes down to your own personal choices.
I do think there's a problem with obesity in America, but I think it's a first world country.
Okay, great, thanks, but that wasn't the question.
Health-wise, people should try to be healthier, but there's no perfect body. There's no perfect person, there's no perfect size, and there's people who are underweight, there's a lot of them, and then there's a lot of people who are overweight.
Okay, I'm gonna use a word here that I shouldn't, because it's dangerous. I really shouldn't use this word. But she's waffling on. Waffling's the dangerous word because it's a video about obese people, and waffles, when mentioned around obese people, it really turns them into just fucking steam trains. She makes no good points. And I won't bore you with them. Terrible points, awful. I think if we can take any lesson away from today's video, it is that people will always look for the path of least resistance in everything that they do in their lives. It's a human trait and it's terrible and you shouldn't do it. And as soon as you allow that into your life, the rest of the things that you do in your day, you'll also look for that path of least resistance. Don't fucking do it. Each time we do, we become weaker. We strengthen that neural pathway to look for the easy option. And that's not good. So ladies and gentlemen, let's wrap up this video by answering the question that I asked. Is being fat a choice? Of course it is, dickhead! Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the video. Be a good motherfucker. Peace in the Middle East. My dick stinks. Toodaloo au revoir. Bye-bye.